Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Thailand InsurTech Fair 2021. My name is Rubkwan Choldumrongkul. I am the co-founder and chief legal officer from EC Company Group or EC PDPA. Today, I am honored to be the moderator for today's panelist discussion, and this is one of the biggest topic we are talking about today. And I believe that it can help inspiring all of us and how can we overcome COVID-19. And today's topic is the Great Rebuild, how to overcome and reach success in the time of COVID 19. And for today's topic, we are honored by our panelists who are top executive from the insurance, both life insurance and general insurance. And we will learn from them how they adapt themselves. And we will discuss about the opportunity for the insurance business amidst this crisis. So without further ado, let me introduce our guest speakers. Because today we have a really famous expert for Thai insurance industry. So the first panelist, please welcome Mr. Sara Lamsam, Chief Executive Officer from Muang Thai Life Assurance, and also the founder of Kushare Venture Capital and Kushare Innovation Center, which is one of the most outstanding startups in insurtech industry, and he is also the chairperson of the Thai Life Insurance in Association. And that's the first speaker. Second, we have Mr. Anon Vangvasu. He is the president of the Thai General Insurance Association and also an advisor to Bangkok Insurance Company Limited. He also has an extensive experience in general insurance. So welcome, Mr. Anon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So officially welcome our panelists to our discussion. The topic is the Great Rebuild, how to overcome the obstacle in the time of crisis. And can I start by asking you, as COVID-19 started in 2019 and it seems like it's going to stay with us even until 2022, and it has changed our world's economy as well as our industry. Can both of you take us back to the journey since from 2019? What were your strategies or how both of you overcome COVID-19 crisis? Maybe can we start with an organization who need to change quite a lot, especially domestic company need to change to remote working environment, and especially in insurance business, we need lots of collaboration between our staffs. Is there any secret tips to keep the team productivity and the team spirit up in the crisis? Maybe can we start with Mr. Sara? All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Anon. Good afternoon, uh, Miss Kwan. When COVID started, so let me give you a quick background. Actually, before COVID, we already faced digital disruption, like the trade war, for example. But let's start from what happened in our organization. Many insurance companies tried to apply digital technology in their business, but we have to admit that insurance is a very complex thing. So we see that digital will certainly come, but it will be more or less hybrid. But when COVID sets in, we got to test it live. And in terms of sales, many companies developed their own platform, and we believe that this platform can provide end-to-end service without using manpower. But it's not impossible. It's not possible, right? In the end, insurance is about trust, and especially in the world where we are talking about big data and those things, we need to understand those personalization, and personalization means complex, right? So people's demand is very complex, especially down to the personalized level. So digital plus human is the way to go. That's what we have seen. And more importantly, OIC launched a regulation called digital face to face. So we can sell our product via video call, just like we are seeing each other today. And we can sell all kind of products, even the very complex, like such as unit link and universal life and super health products, where the premium is very high and the policy is very complex. You can do digital face to face for sales. So, first of all, this platform plus the regulation, both of them have been adopted immediately because distribution channels like agents and brokers, for example, it has been in. But we have to admit another thing that the learning curve is one thing and the mindset, especially for both our sales team and our customers. No, it's not easy. The learning curve is quite high. That's the first thing. And the second thing is the insurance also think about service platform like claim and services related to the insurance. For example, in my business, let me use my business as a case. We actually have an idea to create one application, one single platform to provide our service, but we haven't gone as far as to think about the infrastructure, like the bank infrastructure. We need to handle transaction of tens of millions of people, right? We never thought about that. So we think that it was adequate, but when COVID hit, the good thing is we got to test our platform and we got to learn that we got a very big bottleneck. First adoption, yes, because people were panicked at the beginning and they didn't want to meet us face to face. So we realized that we need to change the whole infrastructure. But the good thing was we got a really, really good adoption rate. The number I saw was more than 400, at least 3, 4, 500,000 people within just a short period of time. Even though we started a long time ago, what adoption wasn't there. It was like thousands of people, but it jumped to hundreds of thousands in a short period of time. But again, we found the pain points and the gaps within our system very quickly. And thirdly, if you think about the customer perspective, we change as we go, we fix as we go. Today we are connecting with API like system partners, like the hospitals. Many companies are doing the same. And again, work from home is certainly we need to think about how can we serve the government policy and taking care of the risk. So I say that, okay, let's do work from home. And at work from home, at the highest peak was about 80% work from home. Yes, we try that. But one thing I find very important for this success is we need to find a way to select or decide the grouping, which team can work from home, which team cannot, and how are we going to support the team? Because the whole team might go down without the right support. So we need to have like team A, team B, team C, team D. We need to, we used to divide people into two teams because it wasn't enough to team. Theoretically speaking, it didn't work. So we had so many teams. And another thing was, we came up with so many ideas, but we can talk about that later. But for today, I think the issue is cyber attack. I mean, the biggest issue, yes, work from home, yes, but it comes with a risk. The readiness, especially in terms of cyber attack, and also the data that can be leaked. And this is, I believe that it's not just within the insurance industry. Many industry need to handle the same situation. But let's say like this is what we found in our business. And I believe that maybe Kun Anon will talk a lot more about the product, but let me touch upon that briefly now. For life insurance, even before COVID, we started to adjust because it's more about data and personalization. But we adjust as we go. We try to be able to serve. It's not just people by demographic, by gender, or by age group. We are trying to rely more on people's data. Before COVID, as you have seen in our industry, we have been trying to using those variables and those data, and we took that and we create what we call dynamic pricing. If you take good care of yourself, for example, Miss Kwan, you will get incentivized by cheaper premium. It's not just about your age group anymore, right? So things are changing. It will be more personalized as we see. But again, there are certain areas that we can do, but there are places that we don't really want to go to. But if we have a better data and technique, we might be able to provide more services to maybe older people and people who are already got sick. Actually, many things has changed, but we used to see a lot more changes. So let me stop here for this round. Yes, sir. So to recap, to recap our conversation, we started to see the changes, but COVID was like a catalyst, and it forces us to change, and including internal work and external works. But now let's go to Kun Anon. What about general insurance business and maybe the association too, or maybe about your company? Did you have any tips or how did you cope with the change? For general insurance, the company size might be different from life assurance because we have large, medium, and small size companies. So I might be able to reflect on larger organizations like where I am sitting today. Actually, this year, COVID hardly caused us any issue in our work because we started BCP as far as I know, maybe from like the protest like 2009. Actually, it was 10 years ago. And we start launching it like 2010. So it's 10 years. So for general insurance, I can say that starting from the back office and the system connectivity, like to connect with our customers or partners like hospitals and even partners like brokers. Actually, many things have been online. So system wise, I think it's more than 10 years. So when we put it into the test during the Great Flood in Bangkok, yes, it was quite struggling because people couldn't really move physically. So we started working from home then, and in the past we didn't call it work from home. It wasn't fully working from home. We distribute our people to our branch office, which locates in the safe area. But for COVID, we got to test it again, and our association already circulated the letter since from March requesting all companies to prepare BCP plan because we expect that the commute wasn't quite possible, and we tried it. And for large organization, we hardly see any issue because lately, actually, since many years ago, people at the top level and mid-level executives, most of the computer we use have been turned into laptop, and people just bring it back home, and they could work from anywhere. And actually, we have had some exercises before, thanks to the past. So things were quite smooth without much problem because we have trained our team and the system was, it has been online for a long, long time. But what we really missed is our frontline people, the connection between us and the customers. And the customer didn't want to use the online system. So let me share with you an example. Like the auto claim, we receive a lot of car accident claim, and I would say that 70% to 80% we did telephoto claim already. It wasn't online technically, but it was already tele, like using the chat messages, using messages. So people hardly need to come in to the office, except the large size, large case. Only 20-30% that we need to send our team to service. So most of the case, people don't have to come to the office. They are in the front line. They are always out and about. And for the internal operation, like the underwriting and policy and communication within the organization. Actually, I think it's been 10 years that I hardly see people walking around carrying documents. Things have been, I mean, we have become quite paperless. Like for claim, it has been almost 10 years that we hardly see any, you know, documents, physical documents, even the finance and accounting. Everything has been centralized. I mean, to the point where the payment has been centralized and Even the claim money can be transferred directly to their account. I mean, they don't really have to use any paper. So documents like receipt and claim and everything was already there during COVID this time. Uh, it it hardly it hardly affects at all. But one thing I find it quite strange is our meeting has become more regular and we got all the attendees every time almost. It was quite a surprise. So, as a result, because even though we didn't see our friends face to face, but we had like online meetings, and thanks to the new platforms like Zoom or Microsoft stuffs, it's really helped our collaboration. So, what I found was working from home for this year, it's hardly affect our work or our relationship with our customers, and especially in our office, no problem at all and not a big deal, and we can still connect with our customers with email and chat message like line application. So I don't think I think less than 1% of our people actually come to the office nowadays. So in summary, for insurance company, because we have been prepared, especially for BCP and BCM in the past, and we have had some lesson learned along the way, and we started to learn how to prepare for this kind of crisis, and that was quite helpful. I got one thing from you: technology really helped, right? And in terms of improving the productivity, as you say, online meeting allows us to meet every time. Maybe you got more people joining in the meeting, and you can access most people. And on the customer side, I believe that the technology adoption is becoming better. Now, let's talk about technology. Is there any interesting use case or success case that you have seen during COVID and also for the insurance? Like, for example, you can talk about online platform or application or how you use your technology. Can we start with Kun Sara? Once again, maybe you can talk about your venture capital business. One of the platform that we have created for me. And let me tell you again, there are many versions for many companies, but for our platform, it was a service platform. So functions like claim was already there. But the point is we wanted to connect to other ecosystem, and then it was about API, and the actual outcome was you need to think about what is the easiest way for our customer. That's the expected outcome. And the adoption was, you know, people people didn't really think about insurance as something of, everyday use. But as COVID came in, the adoption jumped from 10,000 to 500,000 just almost overnight. And the adoption was very high. And we could provide services like claim, and people could even buy policy. And it also connects us with our partner like Samitiwet Hospital. And there are so many things that can be connected for our business. And then we can also deliver the medicine if needed. So we can see that it has developed it quite a lot, like telemedicine. So let me talk about this briefly, like Crucia. Fuchsia is as we start working with startups. So let me tell you upfront, I believe that startup is actually they help fulfilling us as we are the legacy and traditional business. The startups can look from outside in point of view, and they can find our loophole. They can think about how can we make it easier for our customers. I work with one of the startups who was in caregivers business and also telemedicine business. So that was really help us. Actually, when we see aging society coming in, this become very important. So we introduce and bundle their product with ours. Actually, we have collaborated with many startups. Like for example, one of startups in Hong Kong to do DNA test, but that has to be on consent. That's the basic thing. Like Miss Kwan, I know that you are from startup background. You know what I'm talking about, and you are a lawyer. You know that sometimes we just don't really want to, cross the line. So this is one of the way. We can provide suggestion how you should exercise, what you should eat, what kind of product should you take, for example. And it was really popular, surprisingly. But actually, we have done that for a long time. But we don't go to tough things like cancer yet. But this is one of the startups that we have been working with, and we also have another startups. Actually, he's a Thai person, but he operated from overseas to do bone marrow transplant. We believe that we can provide some services like that in our insurance. It can be part of the bundle. So we don't think about insurance as just insurance, but for full share venture capital, we also think about health tech and not just insure tech. Insure tech is the must. Yes, it's a must, but we also health tech and other tech. And then we will think about, is there an opportunity to connect to our traditional business and adjacent businesses or adjacent industry, and then to connect outside. But most of the cases are more about traditional markets and other companies. And success case, as I said, like NTL Click that we started. Actually, we created a new platform called MTL Fit. MTL Fit. This is more about preventive measure, and it is pilot period. We are now using it at the moment. We tested it and we start open up for testers because we believe that if it goes well, it can become a more personalized product thanks to this development. And that is part of the process. And we are also testing an AI bot, but we cannot test outside yet. But we already test inside. It's a health bot called Champu. Champu is means pink, our color. So this bot can answer our agents' question, and this actually our agents can also teach our bot. So one day, if Champu has become more capable, our system can provide service to external customers, and we can also provide more services to our customers. And there are many other things. Things are under the process, but some we started to see a much better adoption rate. But let me remind you once again, in the end, it goes back to what is our expected outcome. Outcome is scalability, for example, or effectiveness and cost saving. Today, we started to see the picture, but we are not there yet. All right, sir. So it seems like you have used lots of technologies in many ways, like bots and data and etc. I think in the end, for insurance, like Mr. Sara said, it's about your customer. So all of this has been built for that. But I believe that with COVID comes the adoption and the whole ecosystem start right away. Kun Kwan, let me add a few things. I think we have been handicapped because for life insurance, we need to sell. It has always been inside out. But as the world has changed, as the digital generation has changed, new generation comes with a new mindset. Even though our product is not the best, yes, there's a long way to go. But the most important thing is about our people. Do we have the right mindset? Do we know how to use it for our benefits? That's the biggest challenge for insurance people. I'm not talking about what happened on Kun Anon's side, but in my experience, I believe that the biggest challenge is the mindset. We need to start thinking about outside in. Right, sir. And what about general insurance? I believe that there are many cases where we have seen technologies. I believe it's about our customers once again and also cost efficiency. Can you please share some success case or some examples of the technology that you have seen in general insurance? Um, Originally, as I said, our internal operation, like the back office and the way we work with our partner was already there. We only wait for our customers to come in whenever they are ready. And actually, most of the works are we don't really need our agents to go out and sell like one to one. Today, they are using platforms like major brokers are using. Maybe at the beginning, they used both online and offline because the customers wasn't very, let's say 3 or 4 years ago, people were not familiar with online insurance. Most people just went offline for sales, and the broker only used for telesales. Online sales wasn't a big thing then. I think online sales just started to work quite recently, only 2 or 3 years ago. But when COVID came in, everything changed, especially the product sets. I think the reason is I believe it's about the government because of the government policy, like กระเป๋าตัง app or wallet or campaign stimulus packages and the support from the government because the government came up with the policy that support Thailand to transform into 4.0. Like we have seen stimulus package given out through the wallet to the underserved group or to the underprivileged group or even the tourism. Everything was done through applications. So for low income people in Thailand, I believe that not just low income, maybe middle class people, even grassroots people, all of them actually help driving digital technology in Thailand. So these people, once they know how to use these technologies and to get the government service through these applications, this has opened our doors in many ways. It helped us. It gave us opportunity. In the past, people didn't want to use the application, even though we have an application for a long time, maybe 10 years or more. Users were like, there were only hundreds of users. But once we um, started, once COVID came in, we could see that with such price and policy, I don't know, maybe the operation didn't want to sell this kind of product because they believe that, the operation costs exceed the margin they get from the policy, including all the process, collections and all the communication needed. Some of the product really, really wasn't worth it. And we didn't want to sell in the past. And our customer didn't want to buy, especially low income people. They don't even realize their risk, but they could enjoy our benefits from insurance as well. But in the past, they only wait for the government's support. Imagine, think about the farmer in upcountry, they only wait for the government to subsidize them or to provide them some packages or low income people as well. They could not really access insurance in the past. But once the government teach these Thai people how to use the application, when we start COVID insurance, I believe that the first one was 299, 299 baht with 30,000 baht protection. We couldn't do that in the past with such pricing. But once we launched this kind of product, wow, we received a huge support from our customers. People who live in remote area, people who live in other province, lots of people who join us. And 2019 was the first year that we have been, it was the historic, it was the biggest success. With 9 million policies sold in just 6 months thanks to this technology. That was very, very new. I would say that it wasn't really new innovation. It's the same old, application, but people did not admit, did not accept, did not use it. But once the right product went to the right target segment, people were afraid of COVID. We have never been so afraid before. We have never been afraid of, fire and flood and storm. These people don't even drive. But when you talk about COVID, they believe that, oh, if they have COVID, they cannot work. And how can they make ends meet, right? Oh, okay, this is just 299 baht with 30,000 coverage. Okay, at least that could last for a month. It really serves them right. And the technology makes it very easy. Technically speaking, it's not easy, but imagine, you get the application and registration process. It's not easy, but these people learn fast. We have to admit that they really learn fast. So all the investment that went into the technology finally worked thanks to the government. The government taught at least 35 million people how to use this digital application. These people never used this digital technology before. They have never been in our customer base, but this opens up a huge opportunity. I mean, for both consumer and for the business. So we finally met each other, and this has become a new opportunity, something we have never seen before. So it seems like there was really an opportunity amidst of crisis, right, for insurance, including the opportunity to test our new product, to launch new product, and to test it with our customers. And in many ways, it really serves what we need at the moment. And the government really supported the whole ecosystem. Everybody is ready to move into the same direction. So we can see that it is an opportunity. So going forward from this point on, so once we see the opportunity, maybe after COVID, is it going to go away with, COVID? Let's say if next year COVID was gone, COVID is gone. How can we maintain this opportunity that COVID leave for us? Can we switch to Mr. Anon first this time? Uh, COVID is national crisis, but it is general insurance opportunity. We have never seen something like this before. We have never acquired this many customers within just a short period of time before. It was a lots of money in 2019 alone, and crisis come with opportunity. But opportunity always, come with crisis again. Like this year, 2021. Like I told you that we made 9 million in 6 months, but this year we made almost 50 million policies sold in just 3 months during April, May, and June after the Thonglor cluster. There were lots of people who got infected. So we couldn't stop selling even just a second because of this crisis. But it has become our crisis because we receive a huge number of claims coming in at the same time. So is it really a crisis? I don't look at it as a crisis. It's just temporarily crisis. Yes, it's very bad. I mean, even up until today, I believe that the claim number by the end of this month, I believe that COVID can be 13,000 people, but when you look at the actual number, it can be almost 20,000 in past couple of months. So we might be losing a lot of money for this period of time because the total claim number was huge. But as our job is to manage risk, and COVID is an emerging risk, and for emerging risk, there's no history or statistic before. And the last time we saw something like this was more than 100 years ago, and the model was already obsolete. So in 2019, we got 9 million customers, and we got like 4 billion baht premium, and we only pay 100 million baht for claim. But in 2021, we thought that the model should, it should be the same, and the premium was even lower. And wow, 50 million people bought our policy. So we got like 6 billion baht from policy, but the claim could have gone as high as like to 20 billion baht or 200 times. So it's an emerging risk, and it's a very good lesson learned for us. Something that we have never seen before. Everything can change just overnight. So from the policy, it can be 200 times claim. So we have never been prepared for that. But for major company, yes, uh, I can say that we have prepared for that. Think about disruption. Disruption is disruption. We never know what we are facing. We never know what come after COVID. We never know what is our next competitor. So we have to get ourselves ready from the inside, inside out. Once again, we never know what lies ahead. So what we can do is to make sure that we are strong enough, to make sure that we are healthy so we can fight with any kind of disease. If you are healthy enough, you can fight with any disease. And the same applies to the economy. We need to prepare ourselves better to tackle with maybe more and more crisis. We never know because disruption happens all the time. And the same applies to insurance business. But our business is about risk. We have been working with risk all our life, right? Yes, as the world change, there will be more changes. But changes is risk, and risk is our opportunity for us to open up new opportunity, for new products. In the past, people were afraid of fire or flood, and people used to be afraid of not have enough money to pay for their hospital bills. But now, people are afraid if their business will close. If you think about that carefully, it will be plenty of opportunity. Yes, this year we might have to pay 20 billion baht for our lesson, but it's really worth, this lesson really worth for us because at least we acquire 15 million new customers. And these people are, they are more than 50%, they are underserved. More than half of them never buy insurance, but from now on, they will start buying more policy and they will, as long as we could maintain our standard. For me, yes, business, opportunity and crisis turns into opportunity. I cannot agree more, sir. Like what Mr. Anon said, it has opened our door and doors to many things. I think it's very interesting, especially as you mentioned, people who never buy insurance, they started to care more about insurance. And in the future, if we have a better product, I believe that things can continue. So there will be crisis and opportunity and crisis again. Right. So now let us switch to life insurance. After your adoption has climbed to 500,000, and as you said, there are many technologies and the door has been opened, as he said. How are we going to ride on this opportunity? And what about if COVID has gone? What's next? Miss Kwan, life insurance is actually the one who is holding one of the biggest portfolio. Certainly, life protection is one thing, and also health. Actually, life insurance also have. I mean, we carry about 80 to 90% of health insurance, but uh, health insurance under life insurance is part of COVID reality. These kind of protections, naturally, it seems like we are the one who manage the risk, right? So we need to think mathematically. We need to evaluate. We need to assess. We need to change, move some things, move many things, and diversify our risk through insurance as well. On the other hand, we are the one who invest a lot because we are a cash cow, right? We have invested in many fundamental businesses in Thailand. But that's the basic thing that we do. But what changed is we learn from what happened during COVID. We develop our data use and we develop our risk management techniques. But we want to go further. Like today, when look at COVID, I think health insurance has been, we have received a lot of, interest from people. Like Kun Anon said, but COVID is also falling under health insurance and we receive a lot of incoming customers. But again, looking forward, we still see a lot of opportunities because the trust in insurance business and many things, we have never seen that. We also learn as we go, thinking outside in, providing the right basic services and to respond properly. Net promoting score or NPS, it was there before COVID. We have been tracking that for a long time. We want to know how satisfied our customers are. But looking forward, the whole world is really dynamic. It's not just COVID. It will be the next generation. It will be Gen Millennial and Gen Z and the way they think. And we still have Gen X and L, aging society. There are still plenty of opportunities awaits. COVID might be just one incident, but from now on, I think it's not just about COVID. The new world is outside in and dynamic and change very fast. So we need to find a way to cope with such speed, especially get ourselves ready in terms of data and many things. I believe the most challenging thing and the engine for success is people. We use very nice words, right? Reskill and upskilling, but actually thinking about people mindset, it's very difficult. So to make it happen or to get the expected outcome, this is the biggest challenge. And the biggest challenge is not the business itself, but within the business, we know that we have our dreams and visions. But in the end, everything is down to people. And this is about transformation. Even since before COVID, people transformation is the hardest part. I think that applies to all businesses. And another thing that we have learned from COVID is actually, I also agree with Mr. Anon about platform use. things like Zoom. I have like 20,000 people in my organization. Imagine that I have to talk to thousands of people in a day. And we can do meetings several times a day. Doesn't matter where you are, northern region, southern region. And my people also use this platform to serve our customer. In the past, imagine if you need to meet, you know, all of our people physically. It wasn't that easy. Now, I can tell Kun Kwan about my policy and insurance offering. If we can get the customer engaged and trust, I can continue to do so many things. How to answer to your demand. I can be your advisor, for example. This will be another change. And the way we work from home is actually there are some downsides for large organizations. We might have an issue with the silo, right? So to work in a more collaborative manner is another problem. I hardly talk about COVID now because now it's about transformation. How can we overcome all of these challenges? We need to be able to see through it to the end. What is your target? What is your outcome? And things that we need to do, like agile and all those changes, those are very important. But all of this transformation, it is down to the basics. There are good things with transformation, but the downside is sometimes it creates even more silo as we transform ourselves. So we need to change so many things in an organization, like to create tribe or squad, to create some special project, not business as usual. I believe Miss Kwan know about this very well. But this is an opportunity for our business, including many other businesses. COVID might make the situation change. We might need to change the way we work. We might need to think about new office structure like co-working space and etc. But that is actually what we have been trying to do. So, in summary, technologies, facilities, and even policy, many things has changed. We need to change quite a lot. We need to rely more on data, but actually it has to be legal. Everything must be under the regulations. So that's the given, right? That's a given. But again, for me, the most important thing is our people, our organization must be able to run fast enough to catch up with the change. So the biggest challenge is the transformation in itself. So we can bite the bullet and capture the opportunity. Unless, even though we have an opportunity, we cannot overcome ourselves. That is very interesting the way you put it. COVID is just one of the crises that we need to overcome, but at the same time, the crisis open many more doors to our future. So, first thing I heard from you is we must be prepared within our organization to have a BCP plan, for example, to have risk management. I believe that that's part of the core value for all insurance business. It's about risk management. So first, get ourselves ready. And second, I also agree that we need to change our mindset. If the mindset is not there, it doesn't matter how good the technology is. Like what we have seen in the past, application was there, but the adoption wasn't because people didn't change their mindset and there was no adoption. So in summary for our conversation today is technology is already there and transformation has always been a trend, but we haven't seen the result. We haven't seen a clear outcome, how things will look like, how change looks like up until COVID, right? And COVID was, it forced us to change, including the business, including the employee and also our customer, even the government. Everybody need to change to overcome this crisis. So I believe that we have already passed the point where we have learned a lot of lessons from our experience. But I hope that from now on, I believe that we will see many, many more changes, including new products, including new way of working and new mindsets that improve our efficiency. So that's to be continued. Can I leave some final words? It doesn't matter how the world will change, how digital will come, but in the end, the basic for insurance is trust. Again, that's the most important thing. All right, sir. So, lastly, one of I believe that our core values will be there. And like you say, technology might help us to gain even more trust from better engagement. Social distancing seems like we are at a distance physically, but we communicate even closer because of that. So today we have learned a lot from your experience and from both of our panelists. I hope that our audience have learned a few good things from our panelists. And like many people say, after the storm, there will be a clear sky. This is the time where we can rebuild and rethink about everything and even restart and try to build the best possible thing for our future. So, thank you so much, our panelists, for today's discussion. And also, thank you everyone for joining us in today's session. Thank you very much and have a good evening. Goodbye. Goodbye. Have a good evening.